Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Risk of Rain 2. I'm Nye. I guess I'm gonna go with Rex today. We're just gonna go with Rex on Rainstorm. I really just want to get that other achievement knocked out on Rex. I'd like to just be able to kind of move on. We haven't been having a lot of success. Part of it is just because I suck. So we're gonna kind of go forth. See if we can get... Hi, friend. Okay, looks like I do get the money from that, so that's kind of cool. I had a lot of fun playing D&D last couple of years. I haven't been in a game in quite some time, which is kind of weird if you kind of consider, you know, the state of the world right now, the fact that we're effectively in eternal quarantine, right? And, you know, this would be a great time to play some D&D, and I just really haven't sat down, kind of established myself with a new play group. My previous play groups, for various reasons, just, they don't gather anymore, so definitely need to get myself a new group to play with. I love the concept of exploring another world. I would love to be, you know, the really good DM, and the problem is I'm not very good at it. I've never been a planner. If I'm being honest with myself, like, I've never been the type of person who is good at planning things. If I think, like, back in school, like, I always hated doing outlines for school papers and like, so I never liked doing outlines, never liked to plan ahead. I just kind of like to do. And when you're the type of person who just wants to, you know, go and do whatever the case may be, that really doesn't work very well if you're trying to be a DM. I've done some cool stuff off the cuff. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that, like, I didn't have at least some level of success doing stuff. But, you know, while I had very interesting single sessions and maybe had a, you know, one or two really kind of memorable pseudo storylines that were being built, it kind of never really ended up going anywhere, and that's a little bit unfortunate. I love playing various characters. I love trying to, you know, some characters I enjoy playing to fit stereotypes. Like I really, you know, in a lot of games, especially as you watch this playthrough, not watch this playthrough, but if you watch my channel and watch me play, you know, various games, I like playing the good guy. You know, I really enjoy playing the hero and stuff like that. That's always fun for me. But, you know, I always enjoy playing a bad guy, too, if I can kind of just do it right. But I don't want to play necessarily to the stereotype. I don't want to necessarily play that straight. I kind of want to build a more interesting character. What's a real shame is I really want to get a chance to actually play a actual rogue for longer than just a couple of sessions. Like, it's very fun to play the, you know, the backstabby character who is able to do all kinds of stuff, do a crap ton of damage. I've played, you know, I've played a fair amount of the characters that are like, you know, paladins and such. That, you know, let's be honest, paladins have the ability to do a crap ton of damage. If you're a D&D player, you know this, you know. Smite just does ridiculous stuff. So it's not that I can't do damage, but I'd like to be able to play that rogue character who can do the, you know, sneak attack nonsense, stack gigantic damage. Every time I try to play that character, I don't get to play them for very long. Something always happens that causes the game to derail. Typically it's not in-character stuff. It's not like game-related stuff. It's scheduling and timing. Which is a shame, because I put a fair amount into trying to actually make a character who is not, like, I don't want to play your standard, like, doom and gloom, you know, rogue-type character. I don't really want to play just the, you know, I want to steal everything. Like, I actually have played the murder hobo characters. You know, the characters who are, I just want to murder things, I just want to steal things. I've played them. They're fun. But I want to do a little bit more with it. So, like, I had a, you know, murder hobo assassin. The entire thing was that she was a, like a 14, 15-year-old gnome who happens just to be very good at killing people. And so she's very bright and cheery and hyper throughout the majority of the gameplay. And it's only when, you know, when you realize that half of what she wants to do is just flat kill people. And you have to kind of rein her in. So I like playing like characters like that. I got a chance to play a rogue who was a I forget what you call, I forget the term, but like a magical rogue. So, you know, had the ability to do disguises and, you know, use a magical hand to steal things, all kind of fun stuff. So I had a chance to play that. Didn't last very long, but I got to play against the players for a while. No, not really against. It was my responsibility to spy on them. And it did end up taking the players a reasonable amount of time to realize what I was doing. And again, I wasn't really against the players. I was on their side, which was kind of fun. But it was definitely a, like, I had to kind of sneak around, not necessarily do what the players, you know, the players thought I was doing. And the one I was trying to do, we were playing a Starfinder game, which is a lot more of like a... Starfinder is, you know, D&D in space, but it's a lot more of the, like, the Pathfinder in space. A lot more numbers, so I got lots more cool skills. And I was once again playing an assassin. This time, though, I was playing, like... I was trying to build kind of a Bruce Wayne sort of thing. So he's a banker by day, assassin by night. You know, shifts numbers around. The original idea was that he was going to be a mob banker, which was... I thought it was supposed to be a really fun idea. Was to have him, you know, move numbers and stuff like that, so that way he was not, you know, couldn't necessarily be traced the crap he was doing. But it was a very fun idea. I was very looking forward to playing it, and then just it didn't end up working out. Hit me, please. That's right. Keep hitting me. That's right. Keep doing it. Okay. Nope, not low enough. Okay. I definitely wanna get back into playing that because you get such cool interactions. Very different from what you get, you know, playing a standard video game. Which I suppose that's a pretty obvious thing to say, right? That, hey, you're playing you know, you're playing with people are running it, so, you know, the rules are a little bit different. Different things can happen. I suppose that should be obvious, but it doesn't really feel obvious, you know, from the get-go. Definitely feels different to be able to play it, because you realize that all of a sudden you are not bound to the basic, you know, nonsense that a lot of players want to do in a video game. Can I go over here? Of course you can. Can I do this? Yes. All of these things that you want to do, absolutely go do them. Now there will be consequences. Don't forget about the consequences of your actions. But there are all of these things that you are absolutely able to do in like a D&D type setting or a pen and paper type setting. And I love that concept because I'm one of those players who is big on the concept of, I'm going to leave that there for now. But I'm one of the players who is big on the concept of story and of, you know, kind of epic levels of role-playing. I want to build a character, I want to build a story. So being able to kind of go and do whatever I want to, whatever I need to, is very enticing. It allows me to kind of build a story and be a character I want to be. I can be a bad guy or a good guy. I can kind of do whatever, kind of build that nonsense. Which I find to be incredibly satisfying and incredibly fun. Ow. Can you not? What do we got over here? It's like a bandolier. I'm just gonna... The Old War Stealth Kit seems good. that up. Always so hard to find a play group too. I mean, I'm one of those people that like I have a hard time being tied down to a schedule. So for me, it's always going to be a problem, and it's not my group's problem. It's my problem. You know, it's not them. I hate being tied down to a schedule. I like being able to go, what do I want to do today? And that makes it awful hard to join the play group. You know, that to be good with a D&D group, a good play group, you have to be able to say, yeah, I'm available Wednesdays. Just Wednesday, every afternoon on Wednesday. Such a problem for me. I like being able to go, what do I want to do today? You know what? I'm going to go do this thing. No, I don't have any prior commitments. Let's just go and do this thing that I was thinking about. Over here? No. Definitely a little bit of a selfish thought. I won't deny that at all. Wanting to just do whatever it is I want to do. It's selfish. I'll cop to that. Absolutely. But it's something I'm gonna have to get over if I want to have that sensation and that feeling of being able to play with a team and, you know, make things happen and build these magnificent stories. It's worth it. Dedicate yourself a day and just go with it. Just rock it out. Especially if you get the right team. I think that's the hardest thing for a lot of people, is to find players they mesh with, players that want to do what you want to do. You know, some players, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing at all, some players, what they want to do is they just want to go and kill everything, you know? They want to be murder hobo characters. All of them. And, you know, some people are cool with that, some people are not. Some people do want that storyline. They do want to be building that story. And it kind of depends on the player. Different players want different things. And in order to have a really good time in D&D, I think that you have to find players who are working off the same wavelength as you. You know, if you are the type of person who wants to just go kill things, you're not going to get along with me very well, because I'm going to want to spend more time talking to the enemy, you know, getting to know them. I'm going to try to find a non-violent solution if I'm playing a character who is, you know, who is non-violent. On the other hand, if I'm playing a barbarian who just wants to eat things and kill people, it's going to be very hard to get me to do the non-violent solution. Yes, as a player, as the, you know, as the person behind the character, oh, I absolutely understand that this, you know, we'd be getting a better, you know, better reward, better resolution, better things if I was to, you know, play smart and not attack. The problem with that is that my character is not smart. And I'm going to play to that. I'm going to play to my character not being that. I think you also, I mean, I personally, I dislike, as much as, like, I'll do it every so often if it is the choice between we will survive this encounter or not, because sometimes it is. But I'm one of those people who I dislike the concept of metagaming it. You know, I have this external knowledge as the player that my character doesn't necessarily have, or I know a strategy that my character doesn't necessarily know, you know, and by using that, I can potentially, you know, do a thing. I don't necessarily want to do that, typically. You also have to find players who are on the same page when it comes to that sort of thing, too. That is an important thing to know. Are you, you know, are you going to metagame? Very important question to ask. How do your players feel about that? Again, I'm not a tremendous fan myself. But again, it really, it really depends on what is going on in this game here. Are we about to die? Like, are things about to go very south, or are we about to stop playing this game if something really stupid happens? If that's the case, then I might go metagaming. I might be willing. I'll consider it, certainly. But if that's not the case, if we're not about to, about to shuffle this mortal coil, I really want these enemies to hit me, please. Hit me. Hit me. God, I'm being... every bit of damage I'm trying to take is being blocked. Nope. Okay. I'm trying to get that less than 10% achievement, and I cannot get enemies to freaking shoot me. I gave up on that achievement. They're all for it. They're just ready to kill me. But man, taking a little bit of damage. Dang. I definitely get some interesting things. I think the thing that I always had trouble with D&D was the concept of having, like, just feeling like you're getting something done for the day. Then there's also the question of, like, everybody gets a chance to be cool. That's always a thing that I think that you have to, that you need. And like, as a DM, you need to make sure that happens. Which I think is hard for some people, especially when you have a lot of people in the party, or, or you don't necessarily have a lot of party members that are the cool type of characters. But characters need to feel like they actually, or players need to get to feel they actually are doing something as part of the game. What you certainly don't want is you don't want a player to feel like, well, I chose a tanky character or a support character, and because I didn't choose to be a super strong, power caster or something like that, I don't get to be part of the game. I know some of the characters I played, like the roguey characters I played, especially early when I was not like a powerhouse of a character, I definitely ended up feeling, I definitely ended up feeling like I wasn't necessarily contributing to the team for a while, just because I was not a super powerful character. I didn't get to do a ton of damage, didn't get, wasn't really doing a lot. I was contributing, certainly, but I wasn't like a character who was killing everything. And when you have certain types of characters who are very good at killing things, it definitely leads to that feeling of like, man, I'm not having fun because I'm not doing anything. And I think that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy some types of like D&D play that is not necessarily straight combat. Combat's fun, don't get me wrong. But, it's very fun to not always be in combat in a D&D game. Partially just because it's, there's other stuff to do. But also, even characters who have, like, low charisma score, something like that, your DM... Ooh, your DM can allow you to have a moment where you can be an absolute boss. And there's always going to be that thing where, like, the DM's like, hey, you need to roll for this. But if a good DM sees that you aren't able to, to do something necessarily, like your scores aren't good enough, but your impassioned speech was good enough, your DM might just let you run with it, They might just say, okay, you know what? You just get that one. Or hey, you get advantage on this, or you get +2 on this. they can kind of give you that circumstance bonus where you get to actually feel like you actually contributed. I've had it happen a couple times where I convinced my DM, or my DM just decided that based on the thing that I did, okay, I get to have this roll and I get a bonus on it, even though it's not something I should be good at. That was good play. And you get to feel good by that. You get to, you know, you as a player get to feel good about that. You did good stuff. You did good work. Anything I want to toss in here? Not really. I think I'm feeling pretty solid with my choices so far. The few choices I've actually had. Sticky Bomb, Bleed, Tri-Tip Dagger. Probably going to be looping on this one. Oh, that's not what I thought it was. Probably be looping on this one. We're not really going to get anything for this run for winning because we're not playing on a on Monsoon. We're playing on Rainstorm. So this is really us just trying to force the game to let me get, you know, these achievements knocked out. Hopefully this is going to work out. What I really need is something that allows me to get down to, like, low health and then kind of stay above that low health. And right now, and not gain a bunch of health, but stay kind of in a safe spot. I don't really currently have that. I'm also trying to avoid getting health regen beyond what Rex starts with. That way I can get down to that 10% mark and just kind of sit there for a while. You might argue that, you know, having the shields that I have is kind of counterintuitive to that. But shields don't regen as long as you're taking hits. So as long as I can get the enemies to actually freaking hit me, I think we'll be fine. I love the concept of, you know, doing a variety of weird things and different stories. It's one of my favorite aspects of the, of different role-playing genres, especially as we get into, you know, stuff like Fallout or something like that, or stuff like Elder Scrolls. Those kind of more open world, open story things where you kind of make the decisions as a player. You have to kind of really sink into it. I am certainly the type of person in general, much less player, that I like sinking into my fiction. I find myself blessed with the ability to, you know, what's the word? I can do that too. Mine's better. I find myself blessed with the ability to, you know, suspend disbelief. So the more I get to kind of sink into a world or into a storyline, the more fun I'm going to have. And I find it to be so much more fun to do that with a, ooh, tri-tip dagger. Interesting. I find that a lot more fun in a D&D setting than necessarily like a video game. There's a certain level of mystery that you can get with D&D. And I love the mysterious aspects of certain storylines. You know, I love that kind of about BioShock. You kind of didn't know what was happening next. You got this very mysterious storyline that built up. You got kind of this really fun world, and then it started building that kind of continuing story. You kind of didn't know where things were going. Didn't know how the storyline would progress. And I really enjoy that. I find that to be, you know, some of the most fun. You guys just sit there. And there's this, you know, big thing that you see, especially when you're looking at the difference between like, what can be a movie. There's a lot of questions that come up, like, man, you know, this video game, they're going to make a movie out of it. I wonder if it's going to be good. And people are like, it's not going to be good. But one of the reasons it's not going to be good is that a movie and a video game, have different ways they tell their stories. And this is quite important, actually, because in a video game, you have the ability to kind of move on your own. You have the ability to make decisions. You can act. It's all up to you. The game isn't making... the game makes decisions for you, but you have all of these options to kind of do as you will. Oh, hi. And it's fun to be able to take action. And then in a pen and paper setting, you have even more actions you can take. You are not constrained by what the game will necessarily allow you to do. Go ahead and get rid of that. But in a movie, you as the audience, you have no agency on the movie, on the storyline. You are not... There's nothing about you that gets to decide where things are going. You know what? Also get rid of these. But you as the audience, you don't get to make decisions. You don't get to act. So a lot of these stories don't necessarily hold the same weight for... an audience in a movie theater as opposed to, a player playing a video game. A lot of video games, a lot of the point is for you to be a badass, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. You get to be awesome. You get to do this thing. You get to do that thing. You get to, be the dude, whatever the case may be. You're surviving whatever it is that you're surviving. There's stuff that you're doing as a, excuse me, you're rude. It's up to 6 stacks. It's not bad. There's a lot of agency you have as a player in a video game, but the audience doesn't have that. So any story that involves in you making choices, in the onus being on you as the player, I have no idea where it is right now. Down? It's down. But any story that has the onus based on you as the player is not going to really work. In a movie setting, because people who watch a movie, they don't have any such ability. They don't get to do that. People sit here, man, I think part of the difference is like in a game like where is this Doom Strider? Down here. But in a game like BioShock, the rules are, a little bit different, thankfully. That one, I think, actually could be a movie if they really tried, if they really wanted to kind of work on it. Let's see what we got. Another bandolier, huh? You guys want to shoot me? We need to get below 60. Oh, okay, we got it. I died, but we got it. I don't have to ever do that again. It activated as I died. Okay. So now I never have to do that again. We're going to go back in as Rex, and we're actually going to see if we can get dunked. That's fine. Yeah, it's in a movie. It's a little bit different. So a lot of these video games that we play would not work as movies, just because the whole way the game tells its story and drags you as the participant in, it just doesn't work that way, right? very different. Like, Bioshock's a fantastic example, because it's very different to, you know, in a late game, you know, playthrough of the game, to get to the would you kindly revelation, and then think back on all the things that you know, the character said to you, all the ways people have interacted with you over the course of this game, you know, and really think back and go, oh my god, I just realized. Especially when you're doing a second playthrough of the game. That's always fun with Bioshocks. Especially if you're a player who has never done their second playthrough, but you remember your first playthrough, go play it again and listen to the dialogue. You know, it's truly kind of a mind screw by that point, because you realize that they have been doing this with you literally the entire game, and you never noticed because at the time it wasn't something that was important. You know, would you kindly was not a phrase that meant anything. It was just kind of a polite phrase, and then all of a sudden, the Andrew Ryan cutscene of, you know, a man chooses, a slave obeys, doesn't hold the same weight to it when you're watching as a passive observer. Because even if you didn't make a choice, you know, it's a video game, right? There's some things that you have to do. You have to kind of follow along. You don't actually really get a choice. If you're really, if you're thinking about it, you don't get a choice when you play a video game, right? You just kind of do what the game tells you, follow the prompts. But even at the same time, it feels like a choice, even if it actually wasn't one. You're going back and going, oh my god, I was kind of forced to do this. It's built in this wonderful way, and unfortunately, like, a movie doesn't quite carry that same weight to it. Especially with something like the, you know, a man chooses, a slave obeys. That same weight's not there, because a movie audience patron makes zero choices. The choice they made was to watch the movie and not leave. There's no other choice made. You know, it'd be a little bit different if they did the, you know, that old school thing where, you know, they got to a certain point to the movie and the audience, you know, clicked a button on a remote that helped make a decision in the course of the movie. That might be a little bit different when it comes to that sort of thing. But apart from that, and that's a rarity. That's old school tech that gets made fun of more than played straight. As cool as it might be in today's world. They don't make a choice. That's the other thing that I really like about, you know, about the concept of playing role-playing games, about playing pen and paper specifically, is that you think you have choices in a game like, you know, Mass Effect maybe is a good example. There's not really a lot of choice there, right? You're still just advancing the storyline. You're just deciding how snarky you're being. They made a lot of comments about this with I think it was Fallout 4, because it really was, you know, do this and be snarky about it, or do this and be upfront about it. But you don't get to be like evil. You don't get to be mean, typically. You know, you don't get to be selfish unless the game is already predisposed towards leaning in that direction. You know, you play something like Overlord, for example. Oh yeah, you get to be selfish and mean and all that stuff. But that's because that's really what that game is. You kind of are an evil Overlord. You're not meant to be a nice guy. But, you know, yeah, think about something like, you know, Mario Sunshine, for example. You know, in Mario Sunshine, you are wrongfully accused for a crime you didn't commit and forced to, you know, pay the price. It'd be nice to be able to say something or react or say, screw it, I'm not doing it. Because they got the Mario Sunshine, you know, cutscene. What is the punishment? Mario is not allowed to leave until he cleans his entire island top to bottom. Oh no, I came here for my vacation. I'm not allowed to leave the island paradise until you're clean. Guess I better hurry on that then. But it's not something that, you know, that you don't get to choose. You just go cleaning because that's what the game does. It shows you this is what we want you to do, and you go do it. Interesting. interesting. I could go Purity. I really like all of the effects you can get, though, so Purity is always a penance for me. It's not really a fun thing. I should probably pick it up, though. Okay, last item on the floor. Okay. Boss killing bullets. Only reason this entire conversation came up is that I was looking through some notes real quick, looking for... I forget what I was looking for. I was looking for something. Obviously, I was looking for something. Like, that just makes sense, right? So I was looking for something in my notes, and I saw some notes that came from a D&D character I played, and I was like, huh. Man, I haven't played D&D for a while. That would be something fun to play again. It's not like I don't have the option to go play it. I just have to go... I have some D&D Discord servers where it'd be rather trivial for me to find a group to play with. It's all about that time. That being said, I mean, come on. It's, you know, with COVID going on, with the quarantines and all that stuff, I don't know about you guys, but my family is still very much, we're not going out, we're not doing stuff. You know, I'm still reticent to, like, go to the gym or something like that just because of how stupid gym people are around here. But it very much is like, it's not as if I don't have the time, I do. And I'm definitely reaching that kind of, like, restless malaise at this point. I mean, it's been 6, almost 7 months since all this crap really came to a head. Like, you know, COVID was going longer than that by the time I'm recording this. But it's been, you know, 7 months of not going out, 7 months of not, you know, meeting up with friends or stuff like that. It's not as if I did a lot of that anyways. I've always been a bit of a, you know, bit of a hermit. But there's the, I don't have the option to, and that's what kind of rankles. I understand that's what a lot of people are, you know, when they kind of, you know, resist the concept of, you know, quarantining and stuff like that. That's the argument, right? Is that, you know, it's my freedom. I want to go out. And, you know, look, I kind of understand it, but at the same time, freedom is also the freedom of choice. I am choosing to stay in, to try to be healthy and not spread a contagion. But, you know, it definitely is that feeling of malaise of, like, man, I really want to get out of the house. I want to go do a thing. I want to not be doing the same things I have been. You know, video games are fun until that's all you're doing, and at a certain point, it's no longer a diversion, it's no longer something else. It's just, this is just what you do. You play video games. That thought has always kind of given me pause, especially when thinking of the concept of, man, I would love to do, you know, this for a job. I was watching one of my favorite streamers. I love watching. I've talked about him in the past, but I love watching Spike Vegeta on Twitch. He's a fantastic streamer. I highly recommend him to everybody. He's not particularly work safe. I'm gonna tell you that much. But he's a fantastic streamer, and he's the type of streamer who, like, yeah, there's some language and stuff like that, but he is the most, like, family friendly, not family friendly streamer I've seen. Yes, he curses, and, you know, there's butt jokes and boob jokes and dick jokes and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff that shows up on there. But he's always kind of real friendly and positive, things like that, and I really appreciate that just in someone, especially, you know, in today's day and age where, you know, bad things are happening constantly, because you have someone who it's like, okay, you know, life may suck, but I'm gonna go watch Spike, and no matter how crappy things may be in the game he's playing, no matter how much stuff, you know, sucks or something like that, Spike's gonna be fun anyways. He's still gonna be positive. It's a great thing in an entertainer. And Spike is a full-time streamer. He's had a lot of success. He's a speedrunner. Chances are, if you're not familiar with the name, chances are if you watch any of the GDQs, you know him. Big white dude with an afro. Always pleasant. Does like Kingdom Hearts stuff. He's a great dude. He's an awesome, fantastic guy. But I kind of, I've watched him, and he does 8-hour days. He streams for 8 hours at a time, or 6 hours at a time. He streams for 6 days a week, something like that. He streams a lot, and it's very much that thought of, man, that's what you're talking about. You are streaming a video game. Wow, again, you are streaming a video game for X amount of hours a day. It has become a job. And I guess for a lot of people, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it sounds like a great escape. It sounds like an amazing thing to a lot of people out there, because they're like, man, I like playing video games. Why wouldn't I like playing video games for X amount of hours a day? And it's not until I think you end up, being forced. No, well, not really forced, but it's not until you end up in a position where you have nothing else to do but play a video game. Or, worse still, a video game is a thing you must do. It is not a choice anymore. It's a, you gotta do this. And then all of a sudden, the thing that you enjoyed doing has now become a chore, a task. I feel like that every so often when I'm streaming, where I've picked a game that I'm enjoying up to a point, and then I kind of reach a point where the game no longer feels fun for whatever reason. And, your mileage may vary on why the game is no longer fun, for whatever the reason is. But the game has ceased to be fun for whatever reason, so now you don't necessarily want to play it anymore. Now you want to move on to something else. And I've done that. I've got a couple of games that I was playing through stream, and then for whatever reason, I just stopped having fun with whatever I was doing. A good example of that was Ori and the Will-o-the-Wisp. Now keep in mind, I love Ori. It's a fantastic series. Both games are amazing. So, I'm not saying that Ori is a bad game by any means. Absolutely not. Quite the contrary, actually. Ori is an amazing game that everybody should play. Both of them. Especially if you're into side-scrolling, Metroid-likes or such like that. But I was enjoying Ori. We were playing for a while, and then it looks like I may have glitched the game or something like that. We've reached a point where I only have kind of one more area to go through. I only really have one thing left to do. And for some reason, I just can't progress. I don't know why. And it's very likely that because I was messing around and sequence broke a little bit earlier, I might have broken something in the game. There's an ability I need to progress, and I can't figure out where it is. And unfortunately, there's nowhere else to go. The game has kind of, coalesced. It's collapsed into a single option. To go here. I spent an hour or so trying to figure it out, fought for a bit, and then I went, you know what? Now I'm just not having fun. Because either I'm going to spend a lot more time trying to figure out why things have gone wrong here, or I'm going to have to restart the game. Because I may have actually broken it. And the problem is, as much as I may enjoy Ori, as fun a game as it may be, I don't really want to start over on a game that I already spent a good number of hours on. Feels like a waste of my time. Now, clever people who, who are actively thinking, which thankfully comprises a lot of my audience. A lot of you guys have proven that you are the like to think a little bit deeper about things than I tend to. But people who, are prone to actually consider things would be like, Nye, why don't you just go look up a guide for it? The problem is, I don't like looking up guides until, like, my second or third playthrough when I'm trying to 100% something and I just absolutely cannot find something. And we're not there. This is a situation where I have actually reached a point where I cannot progress standard gameplay. Like, I just can't progress the storyline. It feels like a failing on my part. And unfortunately, I'm one of those people who, like, I get turned off by failure. I am one of many people in my age bracket where, success was the only thing that mattered, and, even when you failed, you were told, oh, it's okay, it's a consolation prize. Even, failure itself, if you failed, man, you must have done really poorly to actually reach a fail state. Feels a little bit like that. So, it really kind of hurts in a failure state. So I ended up just kind of dropping Ori for a while. Because unfortunately, Ori, even though I love the game, even though I think it's fantastic, and I'm really enjoying it, and someone had mentioned speedrunning Ori, and God, that sounds like a blast, because that game has amazing movement tech. But even speedrunning Ori just doesn't sound like fun, because I haven't beaten the game yet. I haven't seen everything. I don't want my first experience of the end game to be a speedrun, because I don't get to feel the impact of it. So yeah, I watch someone like Spike, and I watch how he is kind of consistently playing stuff, and I end up sitting here thinking, man, that looks awesome, up until the point where I am kind of forced to play even if I'm not interested in doing it. And then I'll get kind of annoyed by having to play this game that I'm no longer interested in playing. And I suddenly stop having fun. And as weird as it is, like, I have a job where even though it is a job, like, you talk to a lot of, this is especially a thing, like, you see this online all the time. I'm a consultant in my job. That is what I do. I consult. I have a very specific subject matter where I am an expert, and that is the term, subject matter expert. But I'm a particular subject matter that I know a lot about, and I have clients who pay specifically to get my knowledge and get my help. And then for other clients, I am also I'm an outsourced administrator. I am here to do the work that you don't necessarily want to do. Which can be a little bit onerous at times, but, it allows me to kind of sit here and watch YouTube videos while I type into an Excel spreadsheet or copy and paste a bunch. Is it glamorous living? No, but it's an okay job. And I'm the type of person who really enjoys Sherlock Holmesing. I like trying to figure out why is this not working. I have a client right now that has a big thing that's broken, and they're not sure why it is, so I'm going to get to spend time trying to figure out why is your crap broken. Which is right up my alley. But a lot of people who are consultants, or I'm not a freelance worker, but there's a lot of overlap with what I do with freelance, because I work for many, many clients simultaneously. I just don't work for myself, I work for a company. But, there's a lot of memes that go around about, freelance and consulting and talking about how much crap it can be. And one of the reality situation is, like, one of them is going on right now. Like, I have a bunch of clients that I work with, and they have a bunch of projects they want me to do. So it's like, great, I will absolutely do your project, let's go. Well, I don't have the details right now. And that's the problem, because I'll have clients who are actively like, where are we on the project? Because they'll be, I'm sure you guys have seen Office Space, and you remember the bit about I have 8 bosses. It feels like that when you work for some clients, because the person who actually pays the bills may not be the same person who you are actually talking to. That may, the person who pays the bills may not necessarily be the decision maker. They're just, marketing is the one that actually is telling you what to do, but, accounting is the one that pays you. Well, accounting wants to know what's going on, why is the project not done with, but marketing has not told you what you're doing yet. I've had that happen a lot, and I actually am in a situation where I have multiple clients who all have projects that they want to complete. And the problem right now is that they have not given me the actual information necessary. I have a client who has a project they need to launch at the beginning of next month. And so I'm all prepared to actually kind of do the work. And the problem is we're still waiting on a lot of the stuff they need done. They have a lot of materials that need to go together into a single finished product, and they need this product to kind of ship out at the beginning of next month. The problem is the materials aren't ready, and the problem is next month is a week away. So I have a lot of work I have to do that I can't do because I don't have the necessary materials to do so. Which, you know, typically sounds, if you're the type of person who, interesting. If you're the type of person who is a, you know, a right-thinking person, honestly, is the way I put it. Like, you tell me, hey, that sounds like their problem. Well, it is. But they're not going to blame themselves when things don't work correctly. They're going to say, okay, you know, we told you it had to be done by the 1st. You're going to say, well, yeah, you didn't have your stuff ready. Well, I got you all the stuff on the 31st. Yes, you got it to me after hours. Right, I got it to you. You should have been able to do all the work. Well, that's after hours, but we paid you. You know, it ends up being that sort of conversation. You don't have the ability to kind of argue the point in a lot of cases. Now, things could be a little bit different if I was the one that, again, actually, if I'm the one who was actually oh, wow. That sucked. If I was the one that actually, like, was in charge, that'd be a little bit different, but I unfortunately am not. Speaking of am not, I am not able to continue because I am dead, so I will catch you guys next time, and hopefully we will actually make this happen. We have still yet to see abandoned aqueduct with a Clane Dew Strider in a nearby pit. Ugh. I'll see you soon.